Okay, so here's the latest report from Spain, from Malaga. It's almost 1 week into this lockdown, and I'll have to be honest with you folks, it's difficult. It's not easy. You have to be inside, and I'm starting to get a little bit of cabin fever being inside there. So I'm venturing out to go to buy. So I'm gonna walk a little bit to the supermarket, and I'm gonna try to get in there. Maybe we can film inside the supermarket, but everything seems to be under control. People are adhering to the lockdown. There's very few people out in the street, so that's good. I think overnight that some of the cases in Madrid, they did have more cases, so that's kind of a shame. Sorry to hear that. And the cases are still going up, so it looks like we're going to be under this lockdown for a little bit longer. Again, Madrid, Barcelona, those are the epicenters right now. We don't have too many cases here in Malaga, in the south of Spain, luckily. So that's good. I'm going to head to this supermarket here. I'm going to try to buy some things, and what I really need is something to treat myself. Maybe some chocolate. I'm thinking about chocolate at this time. So my heart is with everyone that's suffering from this. And another thing they're doing in Spain now is everyone is coming out at 8 o'clock, and they're clapping for the doctors and for the nurses. So that's very nice. They've been doing that. So let's hope that this abates quickly. So I'm in the supermarket, and it is kind of weird. A lot of people wearing masks, and it's very strange. It's very strange, but that's what's going on. But the market is pretty well stocked. There's some bread behind me. You can see that. The lady's restocking the bread there, and you've got that going on there. So there's some bread. So they're doing a pretty good job with the meat. There's a lot of meat. There was some bread. So some of the things are gone, but there is quite a few items still. So 1 week in, they're doing pretty good. The supermarket, I see a lot of people here stocking. They're all wearing masks. So I'm in front of Mercadona. I just got my things there that I got, just a few things, and I'm going toward my apartment now. But it's very strange. The streets are almost empty. Very feels almost surreal. And people are all having masks. They're wearing masks inside the supermarket, but a week ago, no one was concerned. A week later, it's a completely different scenario. So it's very interesting how things have changed here so quickly. And there's not much happening on the street. It's very quiet. So it's quite interesting. But that's the situation we're in now. So 1 week of lockdown. We've had 1 week here, and things seem to be pretty much under control here. I see some public transportation running. All the cashiers had masks and gloves on, and the people were restocking quite quickly the shelves. So they're trying to get things in order. They're having goods for people to buy. So that doesn't seem to be a problem. There are very few people in the street, and that is good. They are obeying the rules, so that is pretty good. But myself, I mean, we're not in the epicenter, so I have my own feelings about that. But some people are allowed to go out. They're allowed to walk their dogs. You see some construction here around me. They're doing some construction. So this street here has been kind of closed. You can see there some buses going, some people walking. So that's the situation that we're at here in Spain. 1 week of lockdown. Now I hear that California now is going into a similar thing. They're going to be locking down, in New York as well. But they're still allowing people to go out and get exercise. So I think that's a good thing, because being isolated is not that good a deal. I'm not doing so well with that. And Spain is normally a very gregarious country. A lot of people, they like to spend time together. Cafes are usually full. So I like to stop at a cafe. I like to talk to people. I like to have a coffee. I can't do that right now. Everything's pretty quiet. I don't see any police in the streets. I see some people walking their dogs. So that's good. So everything seems to be under control here. We're doing pretty well. We're getting along as well as we can. So that's the report from here. So I'm close to my apartment now. But one thing I did pick up on is I've been walking here. It's eerily quiet. And there's normally I'm used to people talking. There's chatter in the streets. There's some kind of noise going on. And there's almost none of that. There's just the odd passing car, the traffic, a little bit of noise from there, but there's no chatter. There's hardly anybody talking. So it's very strange. It's eerily quiet. It almost feels like the street has turned into a library. It's a very, very strange scenario, and it's very different from how Spain is normally. People are very talkative, they're very gregarious, like I said, they're laughing. You don't hear any of that, so it's kind of a shame. It's almost like a cloud of dread is engulfing the city. So I hope it's not like that in the rest of the world, but these are interesting times and they're somber times, so hopefully we can come out of that, come out of this on the other side and stronger for it. So that's my report today from Spain. It's a week into the lockdown, and hopefully this will end soon, because I'd like to see my old Spain back. This is not very happy. It's kind of somber. Okay, hi everyone. Got back from shopping and I'm in my apartment now, and I'll have to say that honestly I'm starting to feel the effects of this a little bit. It's not so easy to be quarantined into your apartment, and if you're living alone, I live alone. I'm used to going out, meeting people, friends, and going places, and I'm not able to do that now. So after about a week of this, it's starting to get a little bit old. I went out into the street and you do feel a sense of almost despair, doom and gloom. That's the way it felt. It was a somber mood. There's no one talking, there's no one laughing, there's no children. It's very surreal. So let me go ahead and talk about the latest unfortunate news here in Spain, and that's we've got almost 20,000 cases now. 1,005 deaths is the latest toll. That's this is according to El Mundo, which means the world, the newspaper here in Spain. 7,165 cases in Madrid, 628 deaths. 3,270 in Catalonia, that's including Barcelona, 82 deaths. So again, the epicenter is Madrid. That's where almost all of the deaths are. País Vasco, the north of Spain, 1,465 cases, 71 deaths. In Comunidad Valenciana, Valencia, 1,105 cases and 33 deaths. Well, it's just so somber, this news. In Andalusia, where I am now, the south of Spain, that is the province here, and that is 1,287 cases now, 33 deaths. So we do have some cases and some deaths in Andalusia, but that's a large swath. That's almost all the south of Spain. So compared to Madrid, 7,000 cases. Okay, Castilla de la Mancha, that is more the middle part of Spain, I believe. That's 1,044, 62 deaths. Castilla y León, 43 deaths, 1,147 cases. So you have cases all across Spain now, into Canarias Islands, 287 with 4 deaths. 204 cases in Murcia, but no deaths. So again, the epicenter of this right now is Madrid, in Catalonia, which is Barcelona, and País Vasco, the north. So there are some cases in Andalusia and Valencia as well, Castilla de la Mancha, but the epicenter by far is of half of the cases I'm looking at, over half are in Madrid and Catalonia. So those are the touristic areas like I talked about before, and that's where most of the cases are, and those people are in a very confined space. If you've ever been to Barcelona, Madrid, you have very, very tight streets. You have very, very small apartments normally. Everyone is compacted in. This apartment buildings, when I was in Barcelona, you have a lot of people jammed into a small area. It's not uncommon for apartments because people don't make a lot of money, especially younger people. They rent an apartment, they share 3-4 people in an apartment. It's very common, so it's ripe to spread. So even if you're being quarantined inside an apartment now, you have families that are close proximity. This isn't like the United States where we have big open spaces. No, Barcelona, Madrid, they're very, very confined spaces. A lot of these streets are just like little tiny streets. So it's going to be very, very difficult. I can see why they're talking about the contagion rate going way up. Like I said, most people have probably already been exposed to it, and hopefully they will get through it. They will fight it off. Now, there was some news about Italy, and that was very somber news. So let me talk about that as well. And that is one of the worst places hit now by far, beside Asia. They have 4,000 deaths now. and they had 627 deaths in one day. So that's very, very somber news. And I see that quite a few doctors have died now in Italy fighting it. Now they're all older. What I looked at, they were all like 62 years old and above, basically the doctors. Now why? I understand you have to have doctors, but why are you having those doctors that are very at risk and they say that they don't have the equipment as well? Why are you putting them on the front lines like that? I mean, you're just causing more problems. Maybe they don't have a shortage of doctors. I can see that. They need to bring in more younger doctors, people that have a higher immune system, better immune function that can work on these, in these areas and be less affected by the virus, because doctors are starting to die. So that's very, very somber news. And we do want to thank everyone that's involved in that field, doctors and nurses that are risking their lives. And that is something that I did talk about, I touched on, and that is happening now in Madrid, in Barcelona, and throughout Spain, even here in Andalusia, where I live. It's a smaller neighborhood, but at 8 o'clock, people are starting to clap, and they're starting to clap for those medical workers, and that's what's going on. And specifically in Madrid, that's happening every night. People get on their balconies. So that's what's going on in Spain right now, and I'm feeling the effects of this isolation a little bit. I have some weights here to work out with, thankfully, to keep my sanity. I think I've gained actually a few pounds. I need to get out and exercise. I'm used to being out walking. It's difficult when you can't do that. So that's the situation. So I have to be careful when I'm eating. I was eating a lot of bread for a while. Can't do that without exercise, so I'm working out with weights. And I'm doing that, trying to do some push-ups, trying to stay active. But, you know, you have to move around, and there has to be some plans made for that. There's people out there with dogs, and they're allowed to walk their dogs. I don't own a dog. Am I supposed to go buy a dog so I can just take a walk? I mean, that's kind of unfair. So there should be a little bit time allotted per day, a half an hour for you to walk around. Now that's what San Francisco is implementing. They're advising people to go out there, but alone, to walk or to jog. So that makes more sense. I didn't see any police on the street, and I did see a few people walking, some younger people too. So I think people are out, getting out to stretch their legs, and it doesn't seem like the police are bothering that right now where I am. But like I said, it's not a hot spot. So I think that's good. You have to allow people to have a little bit of exercise. I feel for the children being inside, cooped up like that. That's not a good situation at all. And it's not good for morale of the people. And if you have low morale and you don't get sunshine and things like that, that can lower your immunity. So that can cause another problem. So it's just a complicated situation. So it's very fluid. Things are happening quickly. And that's my report from here. And that's just the honest, raw, honest to God truth of what's happening here. So wherever you're at, I'm sure you're dealing with something similar, maybe not as draconian. I know New York now, they're trying to advise people to stay inside in California. So some other parts of the United States are not affected. So hopefully you're in an area that's not affected. But if you are, be safe, don't panic. And like I said, you will probably be exposed to it eventually. So keep up your immunity. That's another thing I can talk about. Eat a lot of fruits and vegetables. I have not heard a lot of advice about that. Doctors, you should be eating healthy, eating fruit, vegetables. Throw away the pop, throw away all the sugary stuff, the fatty stuff. That stuff is not going to help you. You need things that will boost your immunity. You need things like orange juice, things that will boost your immunity. Even if you're not sick, you need to treat yourself in this fashion that you're recovering, because you need to keep that immunity up. Probiotics, yogurt, whatever you can take that will help your immunity. And that is very, very important to keep that immunity up. So if you are exposed to the virus, that you have a better chance of fighting it off. And you can develop those antibodies, which is a good thing. And the more people that develop that, that's definitely gonna help the situation. So I have some more ideas. I made another video that I posted earlier today, and I may post this video tomorrow, but this is Friday, March the 20th. So it's almost a week of lockdown. That's where we're at now, and that's where we're at. So my prayers are with everyone, and best of luck, and bless you all.